The Cold War, which lasted from the late 1940s to the early 1990s, really shaped global politics, economics and culture in ways that are, well, hard to overstate. It was a tense period, not defined by direct warfare between the United States and the Soviet Union, but by this ongoing ideological, military, and technological rivalry. But what if the Cold War had never actually happened? What if, after World War II, the world's two superpowers had chosen cooperation over competition? Without the Cold War, several defining features of the 20th century would probably look very different. First, the world might have seen a much faster pace of global cooperation. Instead of splitting into capitalist and communist blocs, nations could have worked together, through institutions like the United Nations to resolve disputes and promote development. The resources that were funneled into arms races and proxy wars could have been redirected toward rebuilding war-torn countries, improving education, and, honestly, addressing poverty on a much larger scale. The space race, well, it might not have taken off in quite the same way. While human curiosity would still drive scientific progress, without that competitive urge to beat the Soviets or Americans into space, achievements like the moon landing could have happened later or, maybe not at all. NASA and Soviet space agencies may have actually collaborated from the very beginning, which could have led to a more efficient use of technology. But on the flip side, maybe there would have been less of that dramatic innovation that comes from rivalry. Militarization would have taken a different path too. The Cold War, well, it justified those massive defense budgets and the stockpiling of nuclear weapons. In a world without this kind of ideological standoff, global disarmament efforts might have started much earlier. The nuclear threat, the fear of total annihilation from mutually assured destruction, just wouldn't loom as large over generations of people. Many regional conflicts might have been avoided or at the very least resolved differently. Wars in Korea, Vietnam, and Afghanistan were fueled or even prolonged by Cold War dynamics. Without superpower backing, some of these wars might have ended earlier, or maybe never started at all. Conversely, the absence of great power involvement may have allowed other local conflicts to spiral unchecked, as Cold War alliances sometimes acted as stabilizing forces. Politically, the absence of the Cold War would have reshaped domestic landscapes. In the United States, McCarthyism and the Red Scare might never have happened. Civil rights movements may have advanced more quickly without the distraction of global ideological battles. In the Soviet Union, economic and political reforms might have occurred earlier without the need to maintain the image of a global superpower. Culturally, movies, literature, and art would lack the Cold War themes that defined decades of storytelling. Spy thrillers, nuclear doomsday tales, and depictions of Soviet versus American ideologies. In conclusion, a world without the Cold War might have been more peaceful, more cooperative, and perhaps more prosperous. But it also may have lacked the urgency and competition that drove rapid technological advancement and defined a generation's identity. While the Cold War brought danger and division, it also sparked innovation and shaped the modern world in ways both beneficial and destructive. Its absence would have created a very different, perhaps more unified but less dynamic global landscape.